J.J. Smith. I'm here with the praise and worship team. Today we're going to do a format a little bit different. We're going to have a discussion about the importance of praise and worship in the church setting. But praise and worship will not be next. It will be at the end of our discussion. So enjoy. Okay, now let's introduce the praise and worship team.
Hello everyone, my name is Minister James Felton. I'm the Minister of Music here at Decatur Heights Baptist Church.
Next.
Nikki Anderson. I guess I'll say I'm the alto, or one of the altos.
Next.
I'm Felicia Morgan, and I'm not very sure where I fall.
Pandemia. Next.
My name is Adrian Anderson, and I am the soprano.
I'm Clint Harris.
Go on, I couldn't get it. There you go.
Okay, I'm Clint Harris. I am the drummer.
So come home,
Oh no!
praise and worship team. What's happening, though? Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and today was finally the day. And after a long conversation with Sister Adrian, she decided that we should do this, and so I'm just very excited about doing it. No, I'm just joking. She did not have that conversation with me. Okay, so this is a really important topic, and I think it's been long overdue. What is the importance of praise and worship? I want everybody's input. What's the importance of praise and worship during a church service? So when you're talking about the structure of a church service, why is singing, instrumentation, why is all of that important to the service? And what does it do for the service?
I guess I can start it off. Hello out there in TV land. I would say the importance of praise and worship music is to, well, for me, my belief is not to come up here and sing your favorite song or to be seen. It's more so to edify the church, edify the members that's singing and worship with the song itself. That's why lyrics and song choice is important. It pretty much to edify the church. It should be synonymous with the word that's coming forward afterwards, after praise and worship. So it should be synonymous with the gospel message that's being preached. So that's why I think it's important for praise and worship.
Okay, so it's like it's a form of the gospel and music colliding. So whatever you sing should have some type of theological message or implication.
Right, something that resonates with the congregation.
So it's not just random chanting over music and all that kind of stuff?
No, not at all.
Okay. Anybody else got any other ideas about the importance of praise and worship in the service?
I got one.
Yeah.
For me, it sets the tone for, well, multiple things. Mm-hmm. It sets the tone for the speaker, for the message, for the gospel. It sets a tone for the congregation, for visitors.
Amen to that.
If you have music that's not where it's supposed to be, it's kind of puts everyone in a funk of accepting whatever the pastor, whatever the speaker has to say for that particular day. So if you mess up for the praise and worship part, it could potentially kind of make everyone feel a little weird for the rest of the message. Mm-hmm. But if you do it well and you do it in the right spirit and the right, and you get a sense of passion, it definitely gives the pastor, the speaker, something to stand off of and just jump forth and be able to present the gospel, whatever he has prepared, and just put everyone in the right mood and to be open spirit-wise to whatever the Lord has to dish out that day.
That's the other thing. Like, I've never understood, why people can't understand the importance of how, so if you, let's say we have a certain structure where we say we sing before we do preaching and all of that. Like, we have actually it set up that way. I've never understood how people don't see the importance of that. Like, singing the type of music, it really sets the tone for the rest of the service. Like, if the music isn't good, and I'm not saying it has to be perfect, I'm not saying everybody has to be a great singer. It is better to have people just participate, and if you do your best and it's to the glory of God, that's wonderful. But you should strive to have good instrumentation, good singing, harmony, like all of that's important, right? And if you do have music that's really not up to par, it makes maybe the minister work a little bit harder to grab the attention, right? And so a lot of people would say, oh, well, the focus shouldn't be on music. But music is an integral part of worship, and it's obviously something God ordains, right? It's something that it's very important in the service. And so what you're saying makes a lot of sense as far as, preparation, the enthusiasm behind it, the people that you have involved in it, and then the team makes it makes it a lot better, right? Anybody else have any other comments that they want to add about the importance of praise and worship in the service? Does the team make a difference? Who you work with?
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord, okay.
Resounding yes, sir.
Okay, and why is that? Why is that? Because you can't have some Beyoncés in a group, right? Where somebody always wants to be the lead singer.
Right.
So actually, you can have a Beyonce in the group if you want to have a Beyonce in the group. But here's the thing: the group has to agree.
For Beyonce.
Exactly.
That she's Beyonce and the rest of us support.
Take it for this group. We like when Adrian leads. We
Hey.
love when Adrian leads. As a matter of fact.
So y'all just said Adrian was Beyonce?
Yeah, in our
trying to push it in
Decatur
the
Heights. Okay, I got it. Okay, all right, cool.
I just want her to, so we don't have to leave.
Okay, all right.
But if the synergy agrees that there is a lead, not a diva, but a lead, then fine. But if the synergy does not agree that this person can lead us to the throne of worship, to the throne of grace, then it's not going to work. It's all about the agreement of the team,
Okay.
right? We've come in here before and we've tried to do a song, and when we're quarter way or halfway through it, we're like,
It's just not gonna work.
this one, right?
Right.
So it's all about how the team come together, how we decide on stuff. Yes, we have a leader, but when the leader speaks, is that final?
Right.
You know, what are the parameters in which we operate?
Okay. We gonna say something?
Yeah, for me, like in order to work with a group, the energy just always has to be right, because there are some days I come in here, we practice at night most times, and like I'm tired, but just coming in here with the team, it picks up my energy, it gets me excited to do things. And I'm not even though I'm the Beyonce or whatever, I'm not the most confident singing gospel songs. I was like trained to do like classical opera songs and stuff like that. So singing with this group and singing different styles of music, it was very hard for me at first.
Yeah.
But like having the team here, it's like that encouragement just helps me to just keep going. And like when Clint's playing the drums, sometimes I'll just turn up like, hey, I like what you're doing there, Clint. That's really nice.
Yeah,
Just feed off of each other is important.
Yeah, I noticed that you never made that comment when I played the drums, but
You gotta do more. You gotta do more.
Okay.
You hear all the time.
I would like to say this, a fun fact for the day. I am a musician. I love music. I sometimes get to play when Clint is off on vacation.
Vacation. So many vacations.
But I felt that spirit coming in here in practice, playing the drums, clowning with Elder Ward, and you guys singing and dancing. Like, it's fun, it's energetic, and even like when, Alyssa sings, the kids are participating, or Sister Veronica sings, it's somebody that likes music like me. I enjoy seeing the progression, because everybody knows that this is new. This culture here is new, and we're integrating, right? Because of new pastoral, leadership. People have come to the church with those who are already here, and so it's kind of it's a merge, not of ministries, but of people.
Mm-hmm.
So Decatur Heights Baptist Church is going through kind of a transformation, and at the very beginning, music was there was a certain setting here. Through evaluations that I got before I actually accepted the job here, one of the evaluations was, well, we would like more contemporary music, and we would like, instruments and things of that nature. And so it was something that the congregation felt that they needed. Now, everybody doesn't agree with that, and we understand that. But you also you don't want to stifle the energy and the enthusiasm for people participating in music. So somebody like me that enjoys music, I love it. When the new praise and worship team was first assembled, you could see that there was a learning going on. There was a lot of learning going on with merging of voices and music and all that. Let's fast forward to like last week. I'm sitting there in church, and I'm just like, wow, they've come a long way. So even songs that historically I've heard maybe James play with different people singing. Now it's like a remix to it. There's something different at the end that y'all never did. There's a different kind of harmony there. So obviously you guys have been taking a lot of time rehearsing, but it's evident that there's something different going on. Now, this church isn't new to this. There's a lot of people that don't believe in instruments and all that. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's cultural. I don't know if it's a gap between maybe boomers and millennials. I don't get what it is. What do you think is the kickback with music? Like there's some type of, there's conflict and there's hindrance, and we don't want to do anything that disrupts the unity of the body, because what's most important is the body. But you have to think about those who are crying out in need for more of a connection to praise and worship that's not stifled or dry, right? There is nothing wrong with having an emotional connection to music. We should not suspend that. And even music, yeah, it's intellectual and we grasp the words and all, but there is something about the right note. There's something about the right bass tone and the right chord. It does something to your spirit. It invigorates you and enthuses you, and you're like, okay, I'm ready for the word. You know, it does that thing Nikki was talking about, like it preps. So I want your guys' opinion on this. Why do you think that churches, not just DHBC, but why do you think churches get the kickback? I understand sometimes people say drums are too loud, right? And we have tried to do, suppress the sound, with the fiberglass cage and all that. And the more people that you have in the building, the easier it is to stifle, right? During COVID, you don't have as many people in the sanctuary, rightfully so. But outside of like just necessarily the drums per se, what do you think is people's big kick with music? Like, why do they kick back so much against it? I don't get it. What do you think it is? Like really your opinion. What do you say, Clint?
I think it's because of outside factors.
Okay.
Outside of church. I'll start with the inside factor of church.
Okay.
So, it said that with the Spirit of the Lord there's freedom. So, that should be the basis of your music. Your music is your invocation before you have your work.
Okay.
All right, so we have that particular foundation. Unfortunately, outside the walls of the church, even when you get to the difference between gospel and contemporary, Christian, on and so forth,
yes,
you have those individuals that want to hear that gospel chord. If we're not hearing the gospel chord, no, that's secular stuff, get it out of church. Or then you have some personnel that happen to have extemporaneous lives outside of church.
Okay.
And then it's brought into the church, and then now, well, you can't use, quote, the Spirit of the Lord and freedom and your invocation as now an excuse for why you brought outside entities and extemporaneous activities inside of the church.
Okay.
So the message of the music is convoluted because of secular things, because of what goes outside the church, and a lot of it is not biblical.
Right, right. You know what? That's also an interesting point. Every type of secular music has taken something from the church. Especially in black culture, R&B, soul. These were all people that sung in the church, left the church, and went secular. We ain't stealing nothing from the world. We're taking our stuff back, right? So, like great instrumentation, some of the, I'm biased. I think the greatest singers of all time come out of the church. I know for a fact, being in the music industry, all of the greatest musicians that I've ever been around were church musicians. They played the bass at the church, and then, start smoking weed. And something else happened, right? I'm just saying, this is the truth. People in secular settings come from the church. They just do. And so it's interesting to me that people would say, well, you can't bring that secularism into the church. And it's just like, well, where did they get it from? They took it out of the church and tried to put their own stamp on it, right? So, and it's also cultural. Back in the day, the grandmother would say, don't be playing that jazz in my house. And all. It had this negative, demonic kind of connotation to it. And it's like, everything that encompasses the understanding of what jazz or rhythm and blues or rock and roll, and all, that's all That's all church. That all came from the original foundations of what we know as church music.
Yeah.
These new genres that we have, contemporary, classical, whatever, those are all just genres, and I think they're culturally biased as well. And so, how do we break through that barrier? Like, because see, Decatur Heights is a multi-ethnic church. It's not black, it's not white, it's not Hispanic, it's not Asian. So like all those different cultures like different music. How do y'all work through that, knowing what you have for the parishioners? You have all these different ethnicities. How do you work through that?
I think what we try to do is try to, especially with help of Andrew as well, even as a ministry leader, I always tell them that this is our ministry, it's not my ministry at all. It's our ministry, and we always try to maybe select songs that can kind of get the best of both worlds. But one that communicate maybe like someone's, for lack of better terms, exodus out from what situation to a new walk in Christ and things like that. And also try to have a contemporary for a younger demographic. Like the 80s babies, the 80s, 90s, the millennials, I guess, if you call them that. We try to have the best of both worlds. Now, we also understand that we can't please everybody, that we try our best to just accommodate, to make sure that, number one, the message is saying the gospel, whether it's hymns or whether it's contemporary, that it still communicate the same message about Christ altogether. So we just try to understand our audience the best way we can, but we're also not trying just to cater to one type of audience.
Okay, how does a praise and worship team not become lame? And I mean this. I 100% honestly mean this. Everybody looks the same now. And what I mean by that is how they do praise and worship. Everything is a guitar, a chant, a leather jacket. It's like it's the stage lights, it's the presence, it's the concert vibe.
Yeah.
How do you do something new that's acceptable but also unique? And let me rephrase this. I think what I see is people try to be so different from how they were culturally raised, right? No choir robes, no choir, no hymn books. All of that's now it's performance. It looks like a concert, so we can get more young people, the seeker-sensitive type of things. How do you create a new, refreshing praise and worship environment without being lame, without having to buy ripped jeans and leather jackets? How do you do that? Yes.
I don't think you do it.
Okay.
I think you stay authentic.
Good.
I think that the problem with religion is because it becomes ritualistic.
Yeah.
And when it becomes ritualistic, people, they don't want that. They want authentic. This is authentic praise. This is an authentic praise team. This is not,
it's not.
We have to sing this way, and if we don't sing it at this particular point, at that particular chord, at that particular feeling, if you don't show this type of emotion when the camera's on you, then we got to take two. This isn't that type of thing.
Good.
You have 5 individuals, 6 individuals, including Andrew, that do this because we love the Lord. We're not doing this for some type of, ambiance or whatever.
Right. Okay.
In addition to what Clint said, I don't know how many persons have looked, and probably you really should go and look at our YouTube channel. But But what we've done basically is we've mixed the hymns with the contemporary songs. You don't know what you're going to get on any given Sunday with this team. We'll be doing Holy, 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 as you know it from Michael W. Smith, but then we'll plug in something from the hymnal. So you just have to watch and listen and learn too, basically to understand what it is that we're doing. It's a fresh sound, I'll tell you that. But yeah.
And also, I just think each one of us is so unique. We come from different backgrounds. Like Clint is classically trained music. James plays by ear. Nikki and I were raised in the same church, so we're used to hymns and stuff like that. And it's bringing all of that together.
Yes, island.
That island flair.
On the river. On the river.
That's next Sunday. That's next Sunday.
Sunday.
Ruin it.
And so bringing all of that together just makes one unique sound. And as you said, we have grown to figure out what works for us.
And we're still
But
learning.
yeah, and it's just so special because we're all a little special.
Yes, we are.
Yes, yes.
That's what my mom would say.
Yes, we
All
are.
of our quirks and our uniqueness just makes this, like Clint said, this authentic sound. It's just us. This is just who we are.
Yeah.
But we all want to do a good job,
Right.
for sure. We all want to make sure we do the right thing.
And we have our little t-shirts and our jeans.
That's right.
And, you know,
Yep.
we just get up here and we're honestly here just to bring honor and glory to the Lord. That is
That's it.
what we're here for. And I think we are able to convey that to the congregation every week. And
So just to sum up that question, a lot of the outside factors are, the kickback is from a lot of the outside factors.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for the praise and worship team. Man, this has been awesome. This has been great. I know y'all want to do this so bad, and I'm so glad that you did. It's actually turned out really wonderful. I have one last question. So it's fairly difficult it kind of merges into the question prior. Some people like to just perform. They don't do it out of the authenticity, the genuineness of their heart. And a lot of people like living out their dreams on stage and singing, and that just becomes their highlight. And that's really not the right spirit to have. So the opposite of that is getting people to involve themselves in the praise and worship ministry. It's fairly difficult. Like, it is hard to get people to join praise and worship teams. It doesn't look like that when you look on YouTube. You're seeing all these like wonderful choirs and all. First of all, choirs are a mess. Some of the greatest dramas that you can ever experience in the church comes from people that sing and musicians. It is a mess. But outside of all of the participation, what's very difficult is getting authentic people to participate. So what do you think is your biggest obstacle at our church with getting people to maybe participate in praise and worship? What do you think can you
To be honest,
just say what's
COVID. It's a little hard to get people in to help.
But outside of COVID, what would be
We don't have the people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Separate and apart from that, our leader is adamant that it's commitment. So don't come today and don't come back next week. It
Right.
just doesn't cut it.
Right.
If you're going to be a part of us, then be a part. And authentically be a part. So some days I come in, the cat dragged me in. Some days the cat dragged Adrian in. We're literally tired, but the truth of it is we're here and we serve our best, and then we put out our best. I think other teams are faced basically with persons not wanting to commit to their team. So you have one set of persons doing this for an extended period. So it has now become ritualistic to the point where, I can get up here and I can say, raise your hand, and we're singing, and everybody just follows, and that's praise and worship. But that's truly not what you want. That's truly not what you need to look towards.
Right. You really need a praise and worship leader. You need somebody that can,
And the leader needs to be somebody who understands that this week may be happy number 9, while next week might very well be a 7. But the fact of it is you're doing it from your heart.
Right,
you're not
right.
just doing something that you rehearsed.
Right.
So I think with Decatur Heights, I can say for this church in particular, it was no barrier to get someone to join the praise and worship team.
Which is good.
Because they already had a mind to work. That's the critical thing. You got to come with a mind to work. I think oftentimes you got people that there's a lot of talent out here in the congregation, but they don't want to get involved because they just want to receive something. They don't want to necessarily give. And for instance, I did have somebody in the beginning when we was forming this, someone said, hey, I want to be part of it, got contact number, called, trying to follow up twice, nothing happened. Me as a leader, it's like I can't sit here and keep, once I'm done with it. Clearly your commitment will tell me how you're going to respond in this ministry, how you're going to add to the ministry. These guys right here, everybody here, these ladies here, they was already just excited with a mind to work because it's something that was not here before. So I think it was not only excitement, but it's like, you know what, I can be involved with something now. We can be great, it can be good, it can be edifying. But Decatur Heights, it hasn't been difficult. As you know, it's been times when we had a few that, clearly had different motives. And as a ministry leader, I had to sit them down and have a conversation, and that truly revealed their intent. As a leader of the ministry, I look at the commitment. Your commitment tells me your intent. we can work through the vocals, we can work through your tones and things like that. I'm looking at full commitment.
So when you guys do rehearsals and all that, do y'all just rehearse and sing, or do y'all have Bible study? Do y'all talk about the Lord? Do y'all deal with tough theological issues that we might have covered on Wednesday night? Do y'all is there any time y'all open up the Word of God, or do y'all just sing and practice and rehearse?
We come in and mostly rehearse sometimes during the week through the band app. I would send out something that's maybe theological in nature, maybe try to get some type of response by what's your response to this, things like that. But physically in the church, we don't. There's not a time in the church that we actually open the Word. We just come because I guess.
Do you think that's important?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not saying that you have to physically come right now, COVID.
Yeah. No, that's definitely important. It's always important. And I guess for me, I try to gauge that it's already, some people are tired. And I'm not saying that's any excuse for never to hear the Word. But I just try to gauge. I don't want to, if rehearsals for an hour, when it's 7 o'clock, we don't want to be here till 9:30 and things like that. So,
right. Absolutely right. Would it be important to do inventory on the praise and worship team's commitment to the church, right? Because the way you could circumvent that, and I'm throwing out a scenario, is, does my praise and worship team participate in Wednesday night Bible study? Or do they just come and sing on Sunday and go to rehearsal? That's a way to gauge that. And that can show commitment to the church, to the body, to God, really, because you have to have a biblical foundation. Yeah, you can be talented at singing, but somebody else can do the same thing you're doing, right? So sometimes gauging that is, what is your commitment to Bible study? What's your commitment to Sunday school? What's your commitment to we have 2 services now, 9:45 and 11. Like, what is your commitment to that? And that kind of helps gauge, the rest of this. Yeah. Because then you get into those issues with musicians. That's a whole nother demon to deal with. Musicians want to get paid. They want a church hop. They play, I play the bass at this church at 9, I play for y'all at 11 and all that. That won't work in this atmosphere here, right? And we're not worried about getting a nationally recorded artist to play an instrument. We want people that are dedicated to the ministry. Is that important for all of y'all, or do y'all care?
No, absolutely, it's important. I think.
Would it bother you if somebody was leaving here and going somewhere else and just participating in an actual function and not a body?
No.
Me personally.
I mean, James and I have been doing this for years and years.
Even in secular.
And in some situations were best, some were not as bad. But I think James and I have seen the lows of the
highs and lows.
Yeah.
And the highs and the highs. But I think the main thing is that even outside the church, that service is that your payment for salvation.
Come on.
I think you have to do more things outside of church.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the community to help people in the community?
Yeah.
Even if it's someone who's walking up to you and says, "Hey, I'm hungry. I need something to eat." When you're doing this, I think it goes back to your previous question. When you're doing this, you're putting yourself to open scrutiny.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. It's like when I leave here, there's a certain message I still have to bring to others. There's a certain thing that I have to treat people a particular way. And so just come up here is great to sing, but if I'm not serving my community, serving my fellow, man and woman and other people out here and children and whatnot, then you just sing up here in vain.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the authenticity of what we're doing here.
Absolutely. Just off the wall question. Like, what's wrong with bass players? Do they have like some kind of issue?
Nothing is wrong.
Oh, okay. Man, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I love this conversation with the Praise and Worship team. Thank you, Praise and Worship team. And now we're going to hear a song from the Praise and Worship team.
We serve a mighty God. Hallelujah. Lord, Good morning, everyone. Wow, what an amazing real talk we had with Pastor. It was fun. It was amazing. If God's willing, we hope to see you at 9:45 and 11 o'clock services. Until then, see you then.